welcome, and thanks for joining me today. I'll be making a really cute Slimline card today using the stamp set that we got in the Paper Sweeties First Quarter Sweet Kit. This one was called Gnome Add-on Winter, which I think is a little bit of a hint that there may be other add-ons to come. One can only hope, I suppose. But let me show you first how to combine this stamp set, and there are coordinating dies that are sold separately, which you can use to die cut out all of these fun gnome pieces and mix and match them with the original Build-A-Gnome stamp and coordinating die set. So I'm starting off here with my female gnome, and these elements you'll find on the original Build-A-Gnome. So we have the hat from Build-A-Gnome, the heart-shaped nose and braids, which I'm gluing together, as you can see here. And I do like to sort of dry fit everything, so I have an idea for how I want to position everything. The stamp and die sets also have cute little hands where you can attach these fun little icons or elements that come in the new add-on set. So what's really great about this winter set is that it has a lot of different elements that you can use for the first few months of the year. So for example, this bouquet of flowers would be great for Valentine's Day. There are some other elements that are pretty cute for Valentine's Day as well. And on the gnome you see to the right there's a little 4-leaf clover, perfect for St. Patty's Day. I'm going to be putting them all on the same card. So I've got my bouquet of flowers attached to one of the hands, and I'm going to tuck the hand under her braid, but I want the flower to go across her body and be in front of her braid on the other side of her body. So that's why when I attached her head and braid, I only attached it at the very top of her body, and I left the rest of it kind of free and clear so that I can do some tucking. And I'll do the same thing with this hand. I just want to tuck it under her braid there, and also behind the flowers too. But obviously you can paper doll this however you like, which is the beauty of having these pieces that are separate so that you can configure them in any way that you like. And you can stamp and die cut onto solid color cardstock or pattern paper, but I actually chose for all of these to stamp onto white cardstock and then color with my alcohol markers. So I'll show you the assembly of this winter gnome. He's sort of representing January, I suppose. The winter hat, which could also be a Santa hat, which if you caught my unboxing, you will have seen me assemble a Santa gnome. But this one does come in the Gnome Add-on Winter set, and I'll assemble it very similar to how I assembled the first one, except this guy will have a beard. So I do like to assemble all of my gnomes in this order, where I put the nose on top of the hat, then the hat on top of the beard in this case, and then the entire head now is its own unit, which I will then attach to the body. And here I found this little foam phone on a on another, I think it's a Sweet Mini stamp set. I'll link to everything that I use in the description box below, but I just thought that the scale of this is so cute, and it would be fun to just put this in this gnome's hands. And the mittens do come in the winter set, so you can really dress your gnome for winter. There's also a really cute scarf too, which I didn't use, but I think would have been really fantastic. In fact, now in hindsight, I wish I had used it on my first gnome, because she doesn't have the beard, so she could really show off that pretty scarf. Next time, I'll use it next time on the gnome girl. But with this one, what I'm gonna do is I forgot to do this on the first one with the flowers, but I did bend the phone a little bit to add a little curvature. And when I go to attach the phone and the hands, here's where I'll put some liquid glue on the hands because I want that to be flat to the body. But I put some of my Cloud 3D glue gel behind the phone. That way, that one is propped up a little bit and it looks like it's actually sitting in front of the body a little bit more. So I wish I had thought of that for the flowers too, but I'll do that again on this one. So this gnome, I thought instead of going, he's a younger gnome, so I colored his beard a nice brown, and I have these elements are from the original Build a Gnome, but the 4-leaf clover is from the add-on set. So you can really see with the add-on we get a new hat, we get some mittens, and a lot of accessories. And the really nice thing with these is that the coordinating die sets do have dies to cut out all of the images, which I think is really fantastic because while the pieces aren't super tiny, which is also a really nice thing about this set of gnomes, is that you can see they are a pretty good size. Once they're assembled, they're about 2.5, 2 3/4 inches tall. So I think that's a really good size for an element on a card. And so with my 3 gnomes assembled, what I've done in advance is die cut the scalloped oval, another die set from Paper Sweeties, and I die cut it twice, once out of some pattern paper and then a second time out of some solid color cardstock that coordinates with that paper. So I'll be creating little frames that my gnomes are going to sit within, and you can see they just barely fit within these oval frames, which I think is perfect. And I like to, when you run this die through your die cutting machine, you're going to get the oval aperture cut out as well as the outer frame. I like to just put those pieces back together, tape them from the back, and then layer on top another die cut frame on top. So that way you get a little bit of extra dimension around the frame element. As you can see here, this is going on top. And there's a nice sort of background element to the frame itself. So that's generally how I like to use these frame oval shaped dies. I'll be creating a slimline card. So this folded will measure 3.5 by 8.5. And I did cut down a panel that is 3.25 by 8.25, and I embossed it just so that my background has a little bit more texture, a little bit more interest. And then I'm going to try to fit all 3 of these gnomes and in their oval frames onto this slimline card. They just barely fit, and I think it's so fun to see all 3 of them together like this. And so one thing I did have to do to make them fit though was I did have to overlap the girl gnome on top of the other 2 gnomes, because as you can see it's a tight squeeze there. And so I'm gonna actually pop her up onto some foam when I go to attach her. Because it is such a tight squeeze, some parts of the gnome are going to get a little bit covered, which is, I was a little bit sad to do, but I definitely wanted all 3 of them on this card, so I didn't think there was any other way around it. But I think in the end, the composition turned out well. So I'll go ahead and get some foam on the back of this oval frame, and then I'll be able to pop this up on top of the other 2. And you can see how nice the scale is on these gnomes, because if you were to make a smaller size card, like a USA 2 size card, these can really take up a nice portion of that card and be a really good focal image. And you can fit 3 of them on a Slimline card too. So I'll go ahead and stamp out some sentiments onto this piece of white scrap cardstock here, and it's really nice. There's this font is really cute, I think, and so what I'll end up doing is I'm just going to hand cut this. Sometimes I would take this to a trimmer and feel like I have to get perfect cuts on it, but I feel like with this font it's a little bit more casual and a little bit more fun, so I thought to hand cut it would be just fine. And in fact, I'm gonna add these hand-drawn border lines, just little sketchy lines, and that will give it an even more sketchy, casual, fun look. So it's something that I always loved the look of, but I just never remember to do. And so I'll play with the position on them on these a little bit, but I will pop them up on some foam as well, because as you can see, this is a pretty tight squeeze here, but I do love that each of these words is a separate stamp. That way I can actually fit them in along the length of this card. So that will pretty much finish up my card. This was a super fun, fast card to put together. The coloring did take some time, which is why I did it off camera, but as I mentioned, if you wanted, you could always stamp onto solid color cardstock or even patterned paper to get different looks. Here's a final look at my Slimline card featuring the Paper Sweeties Gnome add-on winter stamp set. There's a coordinating die, and it works perfectly with the Build a Gnome stamp and coordinating die set. Thank you so much. I hope that you enjoyed this card, and if you did, please consider liking, commenting, and sharing. And if you haven't already, consider subscribing to this channel and ringing the notification bell so that you get notified whenever new videos get posted. Thanks so much. Until next time, happy crafting and have a fantastic day. Bye.